you know well. It's one of the most highly rated hotels in all of Europe. It's beautiful. The Dune-Bag. It's got beautiful 600 acres on the ocean, and everybody knows it. But we have a beautiful hotel, and I was going to do a project there, a big expansion of the place. This was when I was a civilian, before the presidency, before I even thought about the presidency. But I was going to do a really beautiful expansion because it does very well. And I got the approvals from Ireland so quickly. They were so professional. They wanted it. You know, it's economic development, it's jobs, it's construction jobs, a big expansion, beautiful expansion. But I was told something that bothered me. They said, sir, you also have to get approved by the European Union. I said, why do I have to go to the European Union to expand a hotel that's in Ireland? They said, well, that's the way it is. I said, well, shouldn't that go fast? They said, no, it'll take at least 7 years. You gave me the approval in about 4 weeks. It was a beautiful professional. If you took 4 years, you wouldn't have done a better job. You know, everything was done environmentally, everything.
Hey, someone. Good morning.
I had everything from Ireland in 4 weeks. And then I hired somebody. He said the process will be from 5 to 7 years. And I said, oh, really? And then I found out that they weren't playing games. And think about how bad that is for your country. So that was my first experience with the European Union. And I dropped the project. I just said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go 7 years to expand something. But I have to, I'll hand it to Ireland. It was so professional, so good. But I don't know why. European Union had to approve it. And with them, it was still, and that's the European Union. So it was a very bad experience I had.
Just say President, you have the distinction of being the only president who is physically invested in Ireland.
Interesting fact at the end. Yeah, check out this hotel, Trump Island Hotel. Dun? What do you call it?
Not bad.
Dune-Beg. D-O-O-N-B-E-G. D-O-O-N-B-E-G. Dune-Beg. Yeah, 7 years. It's like Africa. And we've had the EPA operate like that forever. And that's how California does it too. Everything takes forever. CEQA, California Environmental Quality Act. CEQA, you may hear that word. Reagan actually signed, when he was governor of California, he signed the CEQA Act. And it was supposed to be only for government projects. There's this big environmental review that needed to happen for all government projects. And then it expanded afterwards, lesson to everyone, to all projects. Now, if anyone ever wants to build anything in California, it has to go through this huge CEQA process.
Everyone banned.
Lawsuits out to lawsuits. Everything takes forever. That's why good. Everything's done. Okay. The congressman just reminded me of that story. On his bill to ban all Chinese nationals, that one's interesting. 300,000 Chinese people from China at our colleges and universities. What do you think? Should we get rid of that? Should we not allow that? Or should we just do a better, should we keep allowing it and just do a better job of making sure they're not spies? Interesting. Wonder how that fits through the America First.
Over half of Columbia's enrollment is foreign students, and they're the ones, of course, who pay full tuition. Yeah. And so of the general studies student population. And that raises two questions. One, why is the American taxpayer, the Free Press reported that, $400 million in federal grants have been yanked. Why are American taxpayers paying to educate people who aren't Americans? And two, it raises this question about immigration and which way the cultural exchange is going.
Wow, a lot of we should have done a 10-listener poll. We only got 2 minutes left for the show.
Or why the Waterville
that was
engine.
Interesting. What were her 2 reasons?
Yanked. Why are Americans
6%? She said over half. I don't know what department or whatever. We'll call it half. Half of the students aren't from this country, and then leave and go to other countries. Like, what is that? Why are we doing that?
And two, it raises this question about immigration and which way the cultural exchange is going.
Yeah, and that's where I was wrong with our engagement with China over all these decades. We thought it would make China more like us, but in fact, it made us more like China. My podcast, Politics by Faith, we went into some good detail on this actually with Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28 says, well, Moses was talking about Israel and how God will curse you if you do not follow God. And one of the curses that will come upon Israel is the foreigners who reside among you will rise above you higher and higher, and you will sink lower and lower.
Dude, you could have gone easy.
You, but you will not lend to them. They will be the head, but you will
Fucking idiot. Go!
so much money that you can't lend to them because you don't have any money to lend to them. They'll be richer than you. It was a curse that Moses said would come your way. We'll talk more about this on my podcast, Politics by Faith, but these lessons for us. So today, of course, Slater at Breitbart.com, Slater Radio on Twitter,
I loved
Instagram.
it.
Do it again tomorrow. Mike Slater, Breitbart News Dallas. Spread the word.
I loved it.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-553-6800. That's 800-553-6800. Once again, that's 800-553-6800.
Good Lord.
With Meineke tires, engine repairs, oil changes. That means you'll be ready for whatever weather lies ahead. And at Meineke, with our financing solutions, you can even fix it now and pay later. Our independently owned and operated Meinekes have multiple financing options designed to provide a customized payment plan for you. Your car, our care. Get your car on the road ready with confidence for a smoother ride ahead this year. Schedule an appointment today by visiting Meineke.com. Trust your key with Meineke. Meineke, doing car care right.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But DC politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing you to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you will pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com.
Ooh, that sucks. I think we wore shorts anyway, though, too.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Attacks on Tesla dealerships and individual vehicles have captured the attention of House Speaker Mike Johnson. The violence erupted after Tesla chief Elon Musk teamed up with President Trump to combat government waste, fraud, and abuse.
Johnson described Musk's advertising report post on social platform X, which is also owned by the tech billionaire, and claimed that the radical left is behind the attacks against Tesla. Johnson wrote, quote, Congress will investigate the sources of these attacks and help the DOJ, Department of Justice, and FBI ensure those responsible are prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Musk responded to Johnson's post with his own, taking him including American flag and saluting emojis. President Trump floated the idea of labeling violence at Tesla dealerships as domestic terrorism. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
The threat of a partial government shutdown looms as Senate Democrats threaten to torpedo a Republican-sponsored bill to keep the government running through the end of September. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says Republicans don't have the votes to pass the House-approved bill in the Senate. Democrats have been pushing for a 30-day funding measure. Newly minted EPA Chief Lee Zeldin launching an historic overhaul of the massive agency, cutting red tape and going after...
Yeah, we used to have that. We didn't call it dodgeball, though. We called it smear the blank.
By making it more affordable to purchase a car, your home, and operate a business.
Did it with footballs. Did it with...
Especially in the U.S. auto industry. And our nation will become stronger for it.
At the same time, Zeldin insists the environment will be protected. Tariffs expected to place high on the agenda. Secretary of State Rubio planning a
Canceled.
G7 summit in Canada. On Wall Street this morning, ahead of the opening bell, Dow futures are down 85 points. Nasdaq futures off 83. S&P futures down 15. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hey, it's big. Rob Schmidt recently beat CNN in key ratings as millions are tuning into Newsmax. Every night, Rob Schmidt is on Newsmax revealing the truth about Elon Musk's Doge. Tune in tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern and find out why Rob is the hottest person in cable news. Even President
course that Newsmax is now one of the top news brands in America. Find out
Be
more.
cool today, but then 70s Friday and Saturday.
Get Rob Schmidt with Greta Van Susteren, Rob Clearney, and much more. Download the free Newsmax app on your smartphone or home TV to start watching. It takes just seconds. With Newsmax Plus, you can watch our great shows anytime. Go to newsmaxplus.com and start your free trial. That's
Oh, he's getting ready to go back on the road?
newsmaxplus.com. Make the switch to
That's cool.
Newsmax today. Russia says its offensive in Ukraine is making headway.
Russia's defense ministry has said its forces have driven the Ukrainian army out of the
Yeah, that's us tomorrow. Windy and then rain at the end of the day. Rain all day Saturday.
The Kremlin's response to a proposed 30-day ceasefire that Ukraine has endorsed. The Russian defense ministry's claim that it recaptured the town of Susa could not be independently verified. The Ukrainian army's 7th month foothold in Kursk has been under intense pressure for months from a renewed effort by Russian forces backed by North Korean troops. Ukraine's daring incursion last August led to the first occupation of Russian soil by foreign troops since World War II. I'm Karen Chavez.
Belgian federal prosecutors making several arrests, part of a corruption probe going to the European Parliament. Amid reports in local media, the Chinese company Huawei had bribed EU lawmakers. News and analysis at townhall.com.
Truth is the authority. All right, first thing, bring your A game because I'll take nothing less. We're going to have an open and honest discussion, but the facts matter. Let's talk about the people. It's common sense. It's principles and policies that work for everybody. I just want to talk about how to fix this country. The DUF Show. There's a lot on the international front. The G7 meetings are underway. We'll get into that later on in the show. The Intergovernmental Political and Economic Forum, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK, and of course the United States. The European Union, that cobbled together idea that
Morning, Mitty.
is a non-enumerated number. But this gets more interesting because as this foreign secretary talking about his just we'll also get into the tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum and Europe's response and tariff this, tariff that, and remember the word reciprocity that matters. There's another R word
Morning,
that's
Brandon.
on the table, or is it really on the table? And that R word is reconciliation in Congress, but it gets confusing. Ask Congressman A, you get an answer. Ask Senator A, you get an answer. And you get the idea. So what is reconciliation? I get some clarity. I have some clarity for you. We go back to 1980 when the budget reconciliation measures were put into and were voted in, passed into law. And there it is today. And of course, when it comes to the House and the Senate, you get the disgruntled, the disconnected. Think of all the words of just an absolute mess of how things sometimes don't get done. Yeah. Lots of other things going on.
What's going on here?
Or certainly,
Why are we doing less than the speed
one
limit?
of you asked the key question. What about the people that took plea deals in the Trump legal cases? And there certainly were enough of them. But what about the people who took those plea deals? So, I said self. We need an answer for the Patriot audience, or multiple answers, because there are multiple cases. And joining me now to help with that multiple choice answer. I think that's probably going to be the way to do it, but we'll try to get
That's
some
crazy,
clarity with
Mitty.
Doug Burns, former federal prosecutor and Newsmax contributor. Doug, I know I threw you a knuckleball. Not even a curveball, but I threw you a knuckleball when I said, man, you got to help me with this one.
This is a little tricky, actually. The way this normally comes up, I think everyone will find it interesting, is I've been in a number of situations over the years because I think that sets up the best classroom example. Goes to trial and is found not guilty. And then the phone calls are made, you know, with the lawyers for those who took pleas. It's like, oh, geez, what a mistake we made. You know, not necessarily, though. The cases are separate. But that's not the situation.
Yeah, today's going to be nice. Chilly, sunny today. Rain comes tomorrow and Saturday.
The other defendant simply doesn't go forward, okay, for whatever reason. But here comes the wrinkle, and it's interesting. If the case against the remaining defendant doesn't go forward because a judge says...
Well, they were considered traitors.
In the moot court.
Technically, so were our founding fathers.
I certainly love it. The judge says
So...
the case had no validity to it. There was absolutely no reason that anybody was guilty or committed a crime. In that hypothetical, absolutely, the people would have the right to file motions to set aside their plea, et cetera, et cetera. Here, the bad news, really bad news, legally, for those who pled guilty, is that the reason the case didn't go forward against Trump, technically, that's a key word, because in my view, as I've said all along, you know, the case has had very, very little merit. Put that to the side. The stated reason why it didn't go forward is because he's president of the United States, and under this long-standing Department of Justice policy, we can't go forward. That really doesn't provide relief to the others, if you follow me, David.
Well, that's a bit disheartening, but I actually understand it, right? The system has to play out, and the process, in a sense, has been interrupted. In, I don't know if you want to call it the future, but as these things continue to play out, as we see cases completely fall apart, if they're not adjudicated in some form in the process, will there ever be the possibility of relief?
Well, that's a good question. And obviously, the point is, what you hit on is that, you know, in the real world cases, real crime, real cases, you know, when cases don't go forward, that's it. Cases, I think, again, listeners will find this interesting. Cases are always dismissed without prejudice, by the way. That was another just huge pet peeve for me, to see everybody hysterically, essentially, you know, getting up wrong. When I was a rookie in DOJ, among the many fundamentals they taught us, that they said, Doug, if you're going to dismiss a case, which is rare, but it happens, dismiss it without prejudice. Here's why. Let's say you have a defendant in a 2-kilogram
Germans.
case, Doug, and you dismiss it with prejudice, okay? Then the DEA comes back to your office 6 weeks later. Oh, Mr. Burns, the guy was involved with 400 kilos. Oops, that would be highly devastating that you dismissed it with prejudice. So you always dismiss without prejudice. Then you go to the Trump world, which is, you know, science fictional distortion of criminal law. And all of a sudden it's like, you see that? The case is still there. They could bring it back. Everybody's foaming at the mouth. Now, technically, that's true. But in 39 years, I'm here to tell you, I've never seen a case dismissed without prejudice brought back. And it just doesn't happen. But the point is, to your core point, and you're right, David, the cases are still out there. So in one
Hey, Matt.
shape or form.
You know, you're 39 years. That's a lot of time in that. Just a couple of years. Here's where the wrinkle comes in. When it comes to Donald Trump, and this is going on still today, even Fani Willis is trying to get back the case. She's trying to get back into it. It's being run through the Georgia justice system after she was removed. So in the Trump world, in a sense, criminals get treated potentially better than the non-criminal Donald Trump, because no matter what, just like impeachment, they're going to keep coming back at Trump.
Well, that's interesting you raised that. This is a good segue, because the other day I was reading a couple of articles, and I'm sure you saw this, where they're interviewing and talking to defendants, specifically lawyers, Jenna Sidney Powell, et cetera, and it's just, again, either you or another prominent media figure used the thing about, you know, picture
Later, Claiborne.
Real quick, I mean, you have the around the dining room table.
Sorry, I didn't see you in here.
Legal X's and O's. Around the dining room table is a case of total joke. Nobody's calling him a felon. Nobody's calling him a criminal. That thing is gone. Dead and buried. That's fine around the dining room table. Legally, the guy is convicted of a crime, which is insane because it's the weakest case I've ever seen in 39 years. Professor Dirtyman just made that 60 years. We said it over and over and over in the media, which I'm very proud that we did that actually. But the fact of the matter is that, you know, unless and until such time as that thing is reversed on appeal, you know, he does stand convicted of
Oh, no.
et cetera, which is really disgraceful. I'm optimistic that it will be.
If I get something, it's going to be at Michael's, a little cafe
Literally, one of my next door
where I work.
building.
Not stopping anywhere.
The appellate division, first department, and he told me that
Oh.
the court is very, very liberal, very likely to be anti-Trump, et cetera, so it's hard to say what's going to happen there.
The phrase Trump broke them fits. He really broke them. I mean, and anyone who supported him for that matter. I mean, no matter where you turn, world of politics, law, culture, he broke them. I mean, that's, I don't typically say that. Remember, it's rare that I say that about one particular person, but Trump broke them.
Well, here's the thing, you know, not to be corny, et cetera, but people wiser than I have said that human beings, you know, show character.
Yeah, I wonder where he's going to. He's probably going to get fuel, actually. There's a refinery over there. I was wondering, I was like, wait a minute, there's no Loves around here. But yeah, he's probably going to fill up
That's fine. Well, how are you going to behave
at the refinery.
Sit down. This guy got indicted 4 times, which is ridiculous. Pot shots all over the place. Every media article to this day, I mean, puts a negative gloss on things that are positive. You know, causing the age-old joke, which
I am indoctrinated.
Very prominent media host said. They said this guy could come out with Robert Kennedy and they go, cancer's cured, and MSNBC is going to be, oh God, look how world population is going to go up now.
They will always look for the negative. You know,
So the point is, yeah, so he showed an unbelievable, I mean, when the history books are written, look, let's face it, I mean, this is just a breathtaking political comeback. You got to be kidding me. They were kicking this guy when he was down. You're a RICO racketeering criminal defendant. You were convicted of 34 felonies. Hang a footnote there. That was the single most unfair thing of all of it, was to have the average person not schooled in any legal principles and not being, you know, pompous or high and mighty, saying, well, Mabel, he was convicted of 34 crimes. No, it wasn't 34 crimes. Stop. You and I discussed that a million times. And the fact of the matter is, with all of that thrown at this guy, he comes back and he gets reelected right in their faces. That's unbelievable to me.
you know, I think it's believable in this way. People went BS. They said this is outrageous. They may not have, I certainly don't have even the legal expertise you do, but they get it. And the average person, and non-interested sometimes, or whatever, they looked and they went, this is BS. This is not how my country should be. And we're going to be, and frankly, they rejected. Some of them may not even have elected Trump as much as they have rejected the Letitia James, the Alvin Braggs of the world, and said to them, you're out of your freaking mind. So that's my legal analysis. You're out of your freaking mind.
No, I think that's a good new legal term here anyway. But the point is, you know, you like to think also, by the way, you know, the country was split, we're going to call it 50-50. A lot of intelligent people say, look, I'm going to watch both sides of media, you know, I'll click on...
Yeah, these roads suck.
I'll watch Fox
These east side roads.
see major legal experts, you know, saying, look, this Letitia James case is outrageous. Nobody lost any money. The victims, this was truly legal science fiction, by the way. The Angoran case was the biggest science fiction of all. No one lost money. The victims said they would do business again with the defendant who is alleged to have defrauded them. And NYU business...
Oh, Jody, all right. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, I'm getting ready to head in anyway. Fucking busy day ahead.
But a lot of people don't. You know, there's Alan Dershowitz. The guy was a professor at Harvard.
Once again, this guy's, whoever this is fucking parked like a douche.
So, and to your point, you know, like a jury, they saw right through it. And I was telling my wife, I find this interesting. You'll go up to a jury sometimes, and a defense lawyer will say in the hallway after the verdict, well, what about that point? That person testified so clearly. And these jurors are brilliant. They're like, no, we gave that 0 weight. So jurors are smart, and I think the American public was smart, and they saw right through it. But I was extremely concerned.
All right, guys. Peace. Love you. Hopefully, I'm gonna try and get something going today, but it's been so fucking busy. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Love you.